This is our PSAT practice problem, and this is a quadratic formula. Quadratic formulas typically have two answers. They're called two roots. And there's multiple ways to solve them. You can solve them by grouping. You can solve them by grouping. You can solve them by completing the square. And I think the most formulaic way, at least, is quadratic formula. So that's the one we're going to start with. Okay, so I think the most formulaic way, not necessarily the easiest way to solve these, yeah. This is PSAT practice. The easiest way to solve not the easiest way, most formulaic way is to use the quadratic formula. Quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. That is a quadratic formula, yeah. You should have. That's algebra 1. You should have learned that in algebra 1. Okay, so we need to solve these roots. And once we solve these roots, the question reads: if R and S are two solutions for the equation above, so R and S are going to be the two roots, and R is greater than S, which of the following is the value of R and S? We need to figure out their two roots and subtract them from each other. This is your A, this is your B, this is your C coefficient. So, you have A, B, and C coefficient, and you plug them in. Negative B is 7, plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times A, which was 2, times C, which was negative 15, be careful with that negative, divided by 2 times A, which is 2. Okay, we need to start putting these numbers together. Well, we have negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 49. What's 2 times negative 15? Negative 30. And what's negative 30 times 4? Nope. What's negative 30 times 4? Don't take a calculator out. You don't need it. Negative 120. How do you know that? Well, we know 3 times 4 is what? 12. Add a 0 in. So negative 120. Remember, it's negative 120, though. Divided by 4. Well, minus a negative is the same thing as a plusing, right? Negative 7 plus or minus the square root of these two added together is 169. You cannot use calculators. Yeah. Okay. Okay, but you can't use them on PSAT, so it's a moot point. And you don't need them. Square root of 169. What's the square root of 169? It's actually not that hard. Okay. She's right. Okay. How do you know that off the top of your head? Well, look at the last number. Last number is 9. What two numbers multiplied together are the same equals 9? 3. 4? 5? 4.5? 5 times 5 is 25, so no. Okay. 4.5. Okay, but I'm asking what two... It was 9. Okay, so we know 3 is our only option to get a 9 on the end. So what are our options? Our options are 3, 13, 23, 33, 43, etc. Well, is it going to be 3? No. Is it going to be 13? Well, probably, because 23 is going to be in the thousands. So it has to be 13. That's how I do these in my head. Okay? So yes, you can easily do these without in your head. No, you can't divide, but you can multiply them. can say 13 times 13 is 9, and this is where this 9 comes from. Okay. So, we know it's negative 7 plus or minus the square root of, oh, not the square root, we know it's 13 now. Plus or minus 13 divided by 4. Negative 7 plus or minus 13 divided by 4. Negative 7 plus 13 divided by 4. Okay, remember, because plus or minus, so this is the plus. Okay, we need to do the minus one now. Negative 7 minus 13 over 4. So those are our two solutions right now. Okay? Negative 7 plus 13 is going to be 6 over 4. Negative 7 minus 13 is negative 20 over 4. Those are our two solutions. This one's negative 5. But actually, hold up, we're not going to simplify. Why? Because look at what we have to do with these two. We have to subtract them. When you subtract them, they have to have the same base. Do they currently have the same base? That's why I'm not simplifying right now. It's going to have the same base. Okay. R is larger than S. We know one of these are R's, one of these are S. One of these are S's. So which ones are? R is a larger number. Is this the larger number or is this the larger number? This is the larger number. Wanda, you need to stop talking. This is the larger number. This is a smaller number. This is a negative number. A negative number is always smaller than this. So we know this is R, this is S. Plug into this equation. 6 divided by 4 minus 20 divided by 4. Say, negative 20, I'm sorry. Since it's a negative 20, they add together. So we end up getting 26 over 4. Is that an answer? But now you simplify. You simplify, divide both of these by 2. You get 13 over 2. Well, I told you this wasn't the easiest way. I told you this was the most formulaic way. Also, it took a lot longer because I had to explain every single step. I'd have skipped the vast majority of this if I was doing this on my own. I mean, did I really need to show this step, this step, this step, this step, right? All right. So now, what we're going to do is we are going to review our trigonometry. And you know what the best way to review the trigonometry is? How did you know? Now that we've reviewed SOHCAHTOA, let me finish this off. Because remember, this isn't just for you, this is for all my periods. So, let's start with sine. We have sine of our reference angle. Our reference angle is x. Okay? We know it's x because it's sine x. Opposite is straight across. Here's our opposite. Our hypotenuse is across here. That's our h. That's our a. Shh, guys. You guys need to calm down, simmer down a little bit. I understand. I love it too. Okay. So sine is opposite hypotenuse. Opposite was 14. Hypotenuse was 16. What's 14 divided by 16? No. R.885. All right, cosine. Cosine is adjacent hypotenuse. Adjacent is 8. Hypotenuse is 16. 8 divided by 16. What's 8 divided by 16? 2. Nope. 0.5. Yeah. 8 divided by 16 is 0.5. We know 8 is half of 16. Now finally tangent. Tangent is opposite adjacent. Opposite was 14 over 8, which is okay. Now we're going to review. Okay, there's too much talking going on. Okay. So now we're going to review how we type in trig functions. We're going to do tangent of 32. The first step is you check your calculator, make sure it's on degrees. Is mine on degrees? We'll find out. Oh wow, imagine that it is. Mode. And you make sure it's in degrees. Okay. Tangent of 32 is 0.62. And now we're going to do cosine of 64. Okay. This yelling out, it needs to stop. You're being very distracting. You know how I know you're being distracting? I have done this 5 times now. 5 times now. And you're distracting me so much that I can't focus. So if I can't focus on this, that means the other students cannot. And I've done this 5 times. So you guys need to simmer down a little bit right now so we can focus on this. Because maybe you know it. That doesn't mean someone else isn't struggling. Okay? So we did cosine of 64 is 0.44. All right. We'd be going down here. Now we're doing, these are the hardest style of trigonometry problems that you guys will see. Well, there's 2 variables. There's 2 variables, and it can either be sine, cosine, or tangent. It can be any of those. So you have to know what you have. So our reference angle here is 47. Opposite is x. Daniel. Hypotenuse is h, and adjacent is a. Okay? So when you solve these ones, what you do is you pretend one of the variables don't exist. I'm going to pretend y doesn't exist. It's gone. Pretend it doesn't exist at all. Cover it up. Okay, Joanna. So we have to look at which ones have buddies. This has a buddy. This has a buddy. So we know we're going to have tangent. We know it's tangent because it's opposite and adjacent. Tangent of 47 is equal to opposite x over adjacent 19. Remember, when the 19 is on the bottom, when the variable's on the top, you multiply. The variable's on the top, so we're multiplying this through. 19 times tangent of 47 is equal to x. Take out your calculator. 19 times tangent of 47, 20.38. X is equal to 20.38. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one. You can do it in the other order. So now we're going to do y. And guess what we're going to cover up? X. And so we know y, it has an h and an a. So that's going to be cosine. Cosine of 47 is equal to adjacent, which is 19, over our variable y. Now we divide. You got to flip-flop them and divide. Y is equal to 19 divided by cosine of 47. Calculate it out. 19 divided by cosine of 47. 27.86. Now we found both x and y. We have a plan. This is only lasts a couple one or two more problems. Because there's a yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll do number 7. All right. If you guys are good during number 7, we can stop after number 7. Okay? Well, move on to the next thing, I should say. What did you say? Yeah, you know what's going on after this. Mm-hmm. All right, opposite. We started our reference angle is 18. Across is your opposite. This is your adjacent. That's your hypotenuse. Okay, so we're going to cover up y. And you cover up y, you're left over with a O and an H, which is sine. Sine of 18 is equal to x over 44. Multiply, because x is on top. 44 times sine 18 is equal to 13.6. Okay, we figured out x. Now we need to figure out y. Cover up the x, so we're left over with an a and a h, which is cosine, sorry, I'm crazy. Cosine of 18 is equal to adjacent y over hypotenuse 44. Multiply because it's on the bottom. 44 times cosine of 18 is equal to y. Let's plug it in right quick. 44 times 18 is 41 point. It's definitely 85. Okay, so on Monday, let me pause this.